Hello and welcome back. So here we are again on the Shopify homepage, on my homepage for the best kitchen stuff. Now, I said next we were going to focus on more of the background and back end settings. So instead of jumping into, which is very tempting, the online store design customization side, we're going to focus on getting those all important back end settings and admin settings created and set up. So let's just go into settings. You can see the different areas that we're going to be looking at. First of all, we'll go into general. So once we're in general, I've got my store name here. Now at this stage, you may want to change it. If you want to change it, you can do there. And if you plan on getting a custom domain anyway, then you don't need to worry too much about this, but you might want to just try out other names. And obviously here, as you're typing, Shopify will tell you if that name has been taken. So they also just keep your email address there. So if they need to contact you, they will use the address that you set your account up with. The customer email, it does pull that in by default because at the moment it doesn't have any other email address. But once you've got your domain set up later, you can then have your own email address. And mine is for Mercury Girl is info@mercurygirl.co.uk, which is obviously the email address that they see when I email them. So then we just have to put the legal name of the business, or just the name of the business. It sounds very formal when it says legal name of the business, but it's name of the business. But that's, that is the name that people will see when they get order confirmations from you and so on. And that address will also appear on your invoices from Shopify. So just pulled in the address information. I'm in the UK. This is my time zone. This will just come in by default. So just leave it at that. Now, obviously, when it says about shipping weights and so on, we're not concerned about that anyway, because we're going to be drop shipping. So we won't be worried about shipping weights and calculations for shipping. The order format will be generated automatically by Shopify. We'll probably use the initials from your store, like my store Mercury Girl is MG, and then the order number. So just leave that as it is. And the currency is British pound. So that's the currency that your products are sold in. Now, of course, when people get their order confirmation or get their bank details, their bank statements and their or credit card statements, then it will show in their local currency what they've bought. So it will convert into their local currency, whether that be dollars, Australian dollars, US dollars, euros, whatever. So once you've made your sale from your store, then your currency that you're selling your products in will be set in stone. Now, don't confuse this with what people see when they come onto your storefront. There will be an option and a drop down to show other currencies. So it will just convert it into their currency. So people won't be having to convert it themselves. They'll automatically see the prices then. If they choose dollars or euros or whatever, they'll see it in their local currency. So, and if you want to learn more about it, Shopify gives you the link there. You can just click on that and it will tell you more information about store currency. But for now, that is all okay. Just need to click save. And then just go back. And then we're going to payment providers. So Shopify payments is a very quick and easy way to get set up. And I would just recommend that you go with this. There is also PayPal Express checkout option as well, which, if you shop online a lot, you may well use PayPal to buy your own stuff online. But we just need to set up Shopify payments, which obviously you don't get charged a transaction fee for, and all the regular payment providers and methods that are displayed here. Of course, people can use their Visa debit card as well. So it's all, extremely diverse. So we need to complete our account setup. So we are individual sole trader. We're not private limited company. we don't obviously have a company's house registration number, certainly not at this stage, or VAT number. So just click no, because then it won't ask you for the VAT registration. And it's just got your business address, which you may be using your home address, but whatever address you use by default when you set up will just be pulled in there. It's got your personal details. Now, I'm not going to put my date of birth in here. So when I've gone through this part of the setup, it will flag up with an error telling me that I've not put my date of birth in. Because if you enter that information, then that will be fine. You put your date of birth in here, description of products or services. So I will just say kitchen gadgets and equipment. And this is, how it will appear on your customers' bank statements, the best kitchen stuff. You will also need to put in your bank account information. Now, again, I won't put my account information in there, so it's going to flag up and tell me that I've not completed my account setup. So I will have to go back and do that a little later. But that's basically all you have to do. As long as you it needs you to put in the banking information, product details, just a quick description, like I've just done, a few words there, and also your date of birth. So it will want that information in order to prevent an error coming up. So just put your sort code and account number where you want when the payments have been processed, and when they come into your bank account, that's where you want them to go. If I go to complete account setup, it will tell me that I've done an error here. So I will obviously need to fill that information in later. But the good thing is that if you have forgotten something, then Shopify will tell you what it is. So once that's done, it's done. Obviously, I haven't quite completed it yet. Now, PayPal is something separate, which we will discuss in another video, but PayPal Express Checkout is a really great way to give your customers that additional option. You don't have to activate it. If you haven't ever used sort of PayPal before, then you will obviously need to set an account up. Now, I would recommend, and like I said, I will produce a separate video on this, I would recommend that you do set up a PayPal business account. Now, there is a small transaction fee, but it really helps to differentiate, obviously, between your personal PayPal account and your business PayPal accounts. Now, if you haven't got a PayPal account set up already, which I do have, a PayPal business account, then it will send an email to your default address that you've used for your account setup and ask you to set up an account. I would recommend that if you want to use a PayPal personal, then maybe go for the Premier account. But my strong recommendation would be to have a PayPal business account, just to keep those elements separate. You can always start with a personal account and upgrade, but the main thing is that you do need to, if you're going to accept PayPal payments or credit card payments through PayPal for your customers, then you need to activate this. So I'm going to activate it. So what it will do then is just take me immediately to my default email address. So I would log in. That would be what I would do, and then I would be able to connect my existing PayPal account. But obviously, if you're just getting started, then you put your email address in, and then take you to the next page in order to set up your account. But obviously, I'm not going to do that right now because I don't need to sign up for a business account. I do actually already have one, so I would connect that. So let's go back in. You can also do Amazon Pay as third-party providers. I mean, you don't need to worry at this stage about additional payment methods. Obviously, once you get to the stage where you're maybe doing sort of higher volumes, you may want to find other kind of payment providers or third-party providers that give you maybe better transaction rates and so on. So, but for the purposes of starting our account, we don't need to worry about that. So get your payment providers set up. Like I said, you can just go with Shopify Payments to start with and sort of sort PayPal out later, because we'll look at that again. And let's go into checkout. So the checkout process is really, kind of very, very, very critical. And there are actually apps available through Shopify that help you to refine it even more. But just to get started, this is what I would suggest that you do. So it's probably the best option to go for accounts are optional. Now, what you don't want to do is to kind of force a customer to create an account when they actually first come into your store, because then it kind of makes them think that they might get email marketing and so on. So they don't necessarily want to be forced to create an account in order to check out. At the same time, you don't want them to just only be able to check out as guests. So make accounts optional for checkout. So I would pick the accounts are optional. And also just leave it at that. Customers can check out using either phone number or email. I mean, I have customers who get order updates by SMS. So just leave it at that rather than just only check out using email. You want to give people the option for phone or email. They can also add a phone number to receive shipping updates on their phone. Form options, you obviously want them to, so this is your checkout form. You want their first and last name, obviously. A company name is generally, kind of probably optional. And also this is optional as well, because not everybody might live necessarily in an apartment, so just leave that as optional. And then their phone number, I would say, also optional. So kind of just tick optional for those. And then the order processing section is really already pretty much done for you. So it just says, whilst the customer is checking out, use the shipping address as the billing address by default. That's fine. Address auto completion. So leave that as it is. And you also, after an order has been paid, leave this as do not automatically fulfill any of the order's line items, because we're going to be drop shipping. So our process is going to be different. So we don't want orders to be automatically fulfilled. So leave it as do not automatically fulfill any of the order's line items. And then when the order has been fulfilled, as in shipped and paid and so on, then you want to automatically archive the order. Now, Shopify will start archiving orders sometimes, even if your supplier hasn't shipped it yet, but at least you don't then have a kind of huge stock of orders that haven't been archived. So then they're not open anymore. So you can choose to uncheck that if you wish, if you'd rather not. But I would just say leave it as it is at the moment. It will automatically archive the order. If there's anything else you would like to put here, it's quite important. So I normally put, because this appears on the order status page. So I shipping take 20 to 40 days. So something like that. Just, I mean, that seems quite extreme, obviously, 40 days, but it just gives, an extra level of awareness to your customers, that actually just reminding them, because obviously that your items are coming from warehouses in Asia. But even if you have this all over your store, sometimes people don't necessarily read it. So shipping may take 20 to 40 days. Anything else you'd like to put there, then please do. I'll just say leave it like that. And then obviously they can sign up for marketing emails at checkouts, and it shows a little tick box. So obviously fulfilling for the UK and Europe our GDPR requirements. There's also the abandoned checkout emails. So Shopify has got a sort of notification section, which we'll look at, and you can automatically send emails to people who have abandoned their cart. So you can actually change it to that, but I would say obviously, because of GDPR, email subscribers who abandon checkout. I mean, obviously, if people haven't given their email address, you can't contact them necessarily, and then send however many times. Just leave it at recommended. So just leave these two as they are, because they're obviously predefined. You can leave it a bit longer if you want. I've actually changed it sometimes to 6 hours, just because 10 hours is quite a long time. But for now, let's just leave it as it is. And our checkout language is obviously English. And that's that. So you've gone through all the checkout settings. You just save. Settings saved. and let's go back. So the next thing we're going to look at is shipping. That's on the next video. So we'll see you then. Thanks very much.